I didn't do it. I don't kill nobody.
The Honduran immigrant was accused of killing 2 women in 2004. It's the case of this guy named Clemente Guerri, who was literally on death row. It can't be true that in 14 years, 4 months, in 19 days, I've been incarcerated in jail if I tell you this story. After 3 months in that room, 24-year-old Clement was indicted on charges of first-degree murder and burglary in Altamonte, Florida, on June 25, 2004. Agura Harkins said the women he tried to help were dead when he found them, and that's how their blood got on his clothes. A gruesome crime led to the death of Carol Barris, 68, and Cheryl Williams, 47. Clement protested his innocence, but police determined he was the only suspect and he was executed. Although Clement was on death row for 14 years, he never stopped trying to clear his name, and he wasn't wrong either, since Samantha Shell's daughter was diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder in a bathroom where the killer allegedly cleaned up her blood within inches of her mother's body. There is a trail of her daughter's blood leading to the bathroom and her mother's blood on the outside of her window. In her doctor's notes from a few years before the incident, she says to her mother, "If I ever get out of here, I'll kill you all." Cheryl's daughter confessed all over town with affidavits that offered irrefutable evidence that she killed her mother and grandmother. It's finally here for Clement. I know that nobody believes me back to no one, but today is a brighter day, a new day, and I have good hopes for the future. He was convicted in 2007 of a horrific quadruple murder for which he was not responsible. In his pajamas, Devontae was arrested just 3 blocks away from a vicious crime scene involving 4 people and an AK-47 assault rifle when he was only 14 years old. The police coerced Devontae into a false confession by asking leading questions and feeding him facts from the case to make matters worse at the local police station. At the time, his lawyer didn't help by convincing him to plead guilty. As his current lawyer explained, when they targeted him, they literally fabricated evidence and committed perjury in order to ensure that this young man would be convicted. However, just 3 weeks later, there was another twist in the story. This twist was brought about by hitman Vincent Smothers. There were 12 murders that Smothers was arrested for, of which 4 were committed by Sanford. The lack of action from the justice system caused the Northwestern Center of Wrongfully Convicted Youths to push for a reopening of the case, leading to the release of DeMonte in 2016. 9 years in the making, it was a homecoming. Smothers protected Devontae, not the cops, for his freedom. It's because of him that I'm able to walk and breathe and just be at peace. As it turns out, all that time spent wrongfully incarcerated may have taken its toll on Sanford, who found it difficult to reintegrate into society. Devontae Sanford, 25 years old, was convicted of murder here in Detroit and exonerated. A hitman cannot take the heat foreign when he was arrested for assault in 2018. During 1991, 19-year-old Gregory Counts and 21-year-old Van Dyke Perry were sentenced to life in prison for crimes they did not commit. The victim was held at knife point in her Queens home before being thrown in a car and driven to Central Park, where she was repeatedly raped. According to her, Counts, Perry, and an unknown third man were responsible. The Innocence Project reinvestigated the Counsel-Perry case in 2017 after 11 years using retested DNA. Both Counts and Perry were cleared by DNA from the semen found on the victim. Strange, huh? So why would the victim fabricate such a heinous story and jail 2 innocent men? Her boyfriend forced her to marry these men and falsely claimed they sexually assaulted her. It was all for her boyfriend to avoid debt, the things we do to save money. Watch both Counts and Perry in court. Though they are now free and reintegrating back into society, they do their best to hold back their emotions. There is no doubt that this horrible, unjust story will haunt both of them for the rest of their lives. Why? Due to the tournament's importance in my life. Tito Mourinho, 22, was murdered in his video store in 1993. The gruesome stabbing death of Eric Kelly and Ralph Lee. The full story was put together by police, by coercion, and a sketchy eyewitness. As a result of those statements, they nailed Lee's conviction. It wasn't until once again the Innocence Project got involved in their case that Eric and Ralph felt a bit of hope, and the state had just dug in ever since they refused to investigate. The other person refused to speak to him, did not examine his history, and instead is clinging to this conviction blindly at all costs. Although Lee was released after 11 years, Kelly was not released until 2018, after spending 24 years in prison after new DNA evidence was presented in court. Judge Joseph Fatelli is in full Karen mode. We don't know about you, but freedom after 24 years of wrongful incarceration seems pretty good. Lee and Kelly were hungry, high in spirits, and thankful for everyone that played a part in their release, starting with my legal team. I want to thank them and then my family. It's been a long time. I just don't know what to say. I'm just feeling good. If someone didn't know anything about your tastes, how would you want them to know I'm innocent? Is Juan Ignacio Catalan your real name in the case of People vs. You? Here is Juan Catalan, the man saved by a sitcom with an alibi captured on camera. In Sun Valley, California, 16-year-old Martha Puebla, a witness in a gang slang case, was shot and killed on May 13, 2003. 3 months after the raid on his family's machine shop, the FBI arrested Juan Catalan, 24. It seemed like they already had a lot of evidence against Juan after interrogating him for hours. You look like a witness who is supposed to testify against your brother in cold blood, but Juan consistently argues his innocence, telling officers they are trying to pin the crime on the wrong person. You killed somebody with my life. Don't get me wrong, I didn't kill anyone. I would never kill anyone. As things got sticky, Juan remembered he was at a Dodgers game with his daughter that day, but a stadium full of tens of thousands of people. Quite possibly, someone might have captured him there, and even more so, you might be able to retrieve the footage. As it turned out, Catalan and his little girl were filming an episode in the same aisle as Larry David, the creator of Seinfeld and star of HBO's Curb Your Enthusiasm. We went to Dodger Stadium after picking up a hooker in the carpool lane. Despite hours of research, Juan's lawyer did not receive results from HBO and ran the tapes. He was running out of tape and felt he would never get what he needed, so he turned to HBO for help. I pointed that screen at him and I said, "That's him, roll that back." Then I got that once-in-a-lifetime chance to find an alibi caught on tape. Both detectives were convicted of coercion and falsification of their reports because of this footage and a phone call made to his girlfriend just before he left the stadium. With Juan, what can you say about being in the right place at the right time, from getting the tickets to being caught on camera? Do you know what the chances are that they are filming on my aisle out of 56 to 58,000 seats? Like when I won the lottery, I was so happy and grateful because I got a new chance at life with my family.